Hello and welcome to my first ever non-speed paint YouTube video. Well, it's still kind of a speed paint, but it's not just a speed paint. Today I am going to be drawing randomly generated characters from Picrew. I thought this would be a good character design challenge and also a good way to draw something other than fan art. 99% of the stuff I draw tends to be fan art, so I thought this would be a good way to draw something original for a change. If you don't know what Picrew is, it's basically a Japanese website where artists can make their own character creator dress-up game type things, and it's really fun. There's hundreds of different Picrews available, and it's been really popular on Twitter lately. This sounds like a sponsor, it's not. I have like 10 subscribers. Loads of people have Picrews as their icons on social media, and I may have been slightly obsessed with it over the past couple of weeks. I've made a whole bunch of myself and also just random fictional characters. The links to all the Picrews I've used are in the description. Like most character creators, Picrew has a randomize option, and you can end up with some pretty crazy looking characters when you use it. So I thought, why not try and draw them? The first Picrew I used is the Gay Generator by Hexa. As I said before, the link to all of these is in the description. For some reason on Picrew there are two randomized options. I Google translated them and they mean all random and item random. So I don't know what the difference is, but I just use all random. And I ended up with this little character, which I really like. The person who made this is clearly a Homestuck fan because they're wearing an outfit from Homestuck. If you don't know about Homestuck, congrats! Basically in Homestuck these characters are like playing a game. It's a very oversimplified version of Homestuck, but at some point in this game you can get like god-like powers, and they wear special outfits when that happens, and the outfits signify different powers. So this particular one signifies mind powers, so I decided to use that in the drawing because I thought that would be really cool. Right off the bat I wanted to give the character a third eye type thing, because I've got their eyes closed anyway, and the symbol for the mind powers kinda looks like an eye. Turns out this is an actual thing that happened in Homestuck. I'm not sure if I remembered that somewhere in my subconscious, but that's pretty cool. Yeah, so this drawing kind of turned into a Homestuck fan art, which isn't what I was planning on, but that's just how it worked out. I haven't drawn for Homestuck in a very long time because I haven't thought about Homestuck in a very long time, but it was interesting to relive that. So yeah, when these characters have these godlike powers, they also have a class, kind of like in D&D I guess, and each class has a different outfit. The one I went for was the Mage, because it looked most like the one from the Picrew, so this character is the Mage of Mind. I'm sure that means something very specific. I remember distinctly when I was still into Homestuck researching for hours on end what the different classes and aspects meant. God, I was trash. But yeah, I didn't bother doing that this time around, I just drew what came to mind. I'm not sure I'd even be able to show it accurately anyway. I feel like I'm being really mean to Homestuck. Homestuck's actually a really good webcomic, but for the majority of people who used to be into Homestuck, it reminds them of being very cringy 13-year-olds, and yeah, that's the same for me. If you're still into it, I respect that. It's really well written, there's tons of really great characters, and it's very wibbly-wobbly timey-wimey. What's not to love? But yeah. Onto the colouring now, and I really love the colours for this drawing. I mostly just use the eyedropper tool on the Picrew, but the colours that are there are already great. Even though this is completely randomly generated, the colours still go together really well. I love the dark skin next to the bright blue hair, the green outfit on the yellow background, it just looks really nice and I'm really happy with it. As usual for me, I struggled for a long time with the hands in this drawing. Hands are some of my least favourite things to draw. You can see me writing little notes, getting very angry at the hands. In the end they turned out pretty good. I mean, they look human, that's enough for me. For the finishing touches, I really wanted to get the hearts in there somewhere from the background of the Picrew, so I decided to do this a little differently and make it look like this character is like shooting the hearts out of their hands with their Homestucky mind power things. Doesn't really make much sense, but it looks pretty cool. And I made them all glowy by using an add glow layer behind it and adjusting the transparency settings. And there we have our first randomly generated Picrew character. I'm really happy with how this one turned out, even if it did become more of a fan art than I'd hoped. Next up, we're using the Icon Maker by Andrena. And here's our character. Yeah, I think you can tell that this one's randomly generated, but I love it honestly. The combination of the long pink hair with the grey beard makes him look like a middle-aged hippie. The little Luigi pin on his hoodie is absolutely adorable, and the heart-shaped sunglasses, I mean, what an absolute icon. Straight away, this character very much reminded me of some fan art I'd seen of Alder Steven from Steven Universe, so I decided to use that art as an inspiration. I'll link to the artist in the description. I know I said I wasn't going to do fan art, and I know I've already done a kind of fan arty thing, but it's not really fan art, it's just fan inspired, leave me alone. But seriously, this guy's like the perfect Alder Steven. He's got the pink curly hair that Rose Quartz has, he looks quite a lot like Greg Universe, he's got a Luigi pin, it's Steven Universe. I think I was also slightly inspired by Merle from the Adventure Zone. I was listening to the Adventure Zone while I drew this, so it would make sense. So yeah, instead of being a totally original idea like I wanted it to be, it kind of ended up being an amalgamation of different fan arty things. But that's probably just because I draw fan art so much. I'm sure the more I do original art, the easier it will get. I'm quite proud of this drawing because in terms of the body type, it's very much the sort of thing I don't normally do. As I said before, I do an awful lot of fan art, and the fan art I do tends to be of female characters. And because women in TV shows and films, of course, have to be perfectly conventionally attractive, they can't possibly look like anything else. They all have very similar body types, so this was completely different to anything I normally do, and it actually turned out really well. The Picrew I used for this one is a lot more stylized than the last one, so I was able to take a few more creative liberties. Inspired by the Steven Universe art, I gave him the same sort of body type, the rolled up jeans, the flip-flops, and I decided to make the Luigi pin into a patch on his hoodie instead, just because it was easy to draw. I mean, I ended up just literally copying and pasting the Luigi from the Picrew, but still. The colouring again was really fun to do for this character. I used the eyedropper tool a fair amount, but because the Picrew is so stylised, I was able to add a few extra details. I added some grey strands to his pink hair since the beard is grey, and I added some more detail to the shirt underneath the hoodie, because when I went back on Picrew and took the hoodie off, I saw that it was a red Hawaiian shirt, which I thought would be a really cute addition to the drawing. I think the heart-shaped sunglasses are my favourite details of this drawing. For the frames, I used a red line art layer above the main line art layer, and then I added a semi-transparent layer below it for the lenses. On Clip Studio Paint there are loads of different layer settings and I'm still not 100% sure what they all mean, so I played around with them for a while until I found the one that looked the best, and I ended up going for a linear light layer, whatever that means. Finally, I added the little heart surrounding his face like in the Picrew, and I gave him some nail polish in the same colour just because I thought that would be cute. So there is our second character. I think this might actually be my favourite one of the three. Last but not least, I used the Astra character creator by Astra. And here's our character, another really cute one. I've been following Astra on Instagram for a while now, and I really like their styles, so it was really fun to redraw it. The only slight problem with this character though is that because it's randomly generated, the hair is clipping through the hijab. This is obviously very easy to fix when I redrew it, but I thought it was worth a mention that that's kind of the reason why I didn't do a few of the Picrews I wanted to. A lot of them had way more options than the three I've used, so a lot of the randomly generated designs ended up being way too complicated, crazy anime characters with like cat ears, hijabs, angel wings, sunglasses, scars everywhere, and it would have been way too much. Which is a shame because there are quite a few Picrews that I love the art style of, but it would have just been impossible to redraw these characters. But I mean, if you want to see me do that at some point in the future, I'm sure I could. I'm sure it would be a very interesting challenge. With this Picrew, I didn't really need to use my imagination an awful lot. I feel like Astra art style is kinda similar to mine anyway, and the way the character is posed means you can basically see their entire outfit. So that meant that this one was kind of an easier one to do, but I still think I managed to change it to fit my art style pretty well. So there is our third and final character. This one actually took way less time to draw than the other two, but it still ended up looking pretty good. Thank you so much for watching. I still don't know for sure where I'm going to go with this YouTube channel. I might post more things like this and more regularly, or I might just post a speed paint every few months. I'm not sure yet. But if you've enjoyed this, let me know. And maybe give me suggestions of other things I could do. I could maybe make another randomly generated Picrew video. There's tons of Picrews out there that I didn't use. I could even draw other randomized characters, like randomized Sims maybe. That might be fun. But yeah, like and subscribe and all that if you want. And I'll see you in the next one.